And we're live. What's going on, Facebook friends, Facebook community? Guess what we have tonight? We are here for Sales Hustler Spotlight. Yeah, man. This is episode 7, 8, something like that. What started as just a whim has turned into something we're doing every week, and people are really, really loving it, man. Guess who we got tonight? Yes, you probably know. You probably wouldn't have tuned in if you didn't. It's Frank Crinite. Yes, the man that has already sold 1,000 cars this year. I know that seems a little big, but we're going to get down to his process tonight. Before we get to meet Frank, I'd like everybody in Facebook land, I want you to understand, this is probably going to be the most highly watched episode of the season. If you can, we need to get this out to as many people as we can. Hit share, do it right now. I would really appreciate it. Frank would really appreciate it. The auto community will really appreciate it. Just hit share so everybody in your timeline can see this. Also, at the end, we're going to take some time to go over any comments, any questions that we haven't handled. We've got a lot for Frank tonight, so we'll try to handle everything tonight. But if we miss something, just leave it in the comments and we'll go over it. Now, to the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Crinite. Frank, go ahead and say hi to everybody tonight.
What's going on, Facebook? How's everybody doing today?
Look at him, man. He's all pimped up in his suit. He looks good, man. I should have wore a suit tonight so I could have tried to blend in with him. But we're going to get to know him a little bit tonight. We're going to get to know the behind the scenes. I know we all know him through Facebook and the cars he sells, but we're going to learn a little bit about his life as well as his process and his family. Frank, I want to start out with just getting everybody in Facebook land to know you a little bit. Tell me a little bit about where you're from and your family.
Well, I grew up in a great community here. We call it Delco, Delaware County. We're right outside of Philadelphia. So I grew up in a town named Fallcroft. A lot of kids around, a lot of fun. Grew up playing outside every day. And the neighborhood I grew up in, which is great now because it helps me out, there were so many kids that you became friends with back then. Even now, you still have them guys to help you out. So, growing up in a town with we grew up in row homes, so there was probably to go outside and play 500 kids in the neighborhood at any time, and it helps having a dealership right down the street from where you grew up in.
Now, you grew up an Eagles fan, right?
I was born an Eagles fan, actually.
All right. So, guys, I'm sorry to all the Facebook community. We got a couple sports fans here. So I briefly have to talk to somebody that is a sports fan. Awesome. I saw you out last week at the Eagles game. Are you guys at the game every week?
Every week, season ticket holder. We're down there. Absolutely.
I like how you're able to take your son with you and let him experience that. I never saw a game as a kid. I always had to watch it on TV. We really couldn't afford tickets. So it's nice that you could do that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
Where are your seats at?
My seats are between the tunnels in the end zone. I have a lounge chair that I get to sit in. Mike Trout sits a couple seats over from me, so it's fun. Whoever you bring down really has a good time. You get to hang out in the tunnel a little bit. The players are all there. They're all getting hyped up before the game, so you almost feel like you're part of the team. You come running out the tunnel right after the Eagles run out, right in time for the pledge, for the anthem, and the seats are sick. It's fun.
That would be so awesome. Who's your favorite player?
Oh, well, it's got to be number 11 right now, Carson Wentz. I mean, I appreciate you Cleveland fans giving him up to us. That was a very gracious gift that we will accept.
Well, I will promise you this. It wasn't the fans that gave him up. I promise you that, okay? We wish we had him. So, but, all right, so we know where you grew up. Did you go to college?
Went to Delaware County Community for maybe a semester. It was more of a social event for me, so college wasn't my thing. I figured I wanted to do accounting because I was pretty good with numbers, but quickly realized that wasn't going to be my thing.
What is it with all us car sales, man? I've interviewed 7 people and none of us really, college wasn't our thing. What is that, man?
Well, half of my friends who went to college and graduated, I mean, they got their degree, but they're doing things other than what they would need a college degree for, or other fields that the degree has nothing to do with. So it's good for some people, not the path that everybody needs to take, in my opinion.
So true. Tell me, before you found car sales, we'll get to that in a second, but what did you do before that? So you went to
Oh,
community college for a little bit, and then before you found car sales, what'd you do?
so I had a great job that actually broke me in for car sales. Phenomenal. So I used to work for, when the electric companies deregulated, I used to work for a company called NRG. It was a marketing firm for Green Mountain Energy, which was this environmental electric company. And basically what you would do is you would set up appointments with your family and friends first. You have a prospectus you learn, you go through, you sit down, you go through the whole prospectus. Prospectus leads you to, at the end to pick, what you want to do for the environment. Basically, do you want to keep your bill the same, help the environment? Do you want to lower your bill, help the environment a little less, or do you want to pay a lot more? Well, not a lot more, a little bit more, and really help the environment out with the generation side of electricity. And from there, you have to get referrals after you get somebody to switch over, door to door, basically, referral sales. So after you get done the appointment, you ask, does any of your neighbors or friends, I mean, I went over everything with you. Do you think that they'd be interested in hearing it? And you try to get as many referrals from that as possible to grow your book of business, to grow your tree, basically. So that helped me immensely.
I bet. That's interesting. So you had a job before car sales of basically doing very similar to building a book of business. That's very interesting. How did you go about that? Knocking on doors or?
I got a pretty large family. So we started, you start with the family, you start with mom and dad, obviously go home and do the presentation on them. You stumble through the whole thing. But I learned the presentation, like the back of my hand. I just studied it. So I still remember my stats, if you can believe this. So I had 118 appointments and only 2 people out of 118 told me no, because it just made so much sense back then when you had to deregulate anyway. The 2 people, the only objections I couldn't overcome was the Y2K was back then. So Y2K, everybody was worried to computers. So they told me to come back after Y2K. I got 1 guy to switch. So I'm 115 and 1 basically with switching the electric and the energy. And then what happened, because I was so, good at what I did, there was actually an opening. So they actually made me a sales trainer basically for all the college kids, younger guys that, wanted to come in. So I basically ended up training, what was me before that, to go switch accounts.
Did you enjoy it?
I did. I'd be training a room sometimes of 15, sometimes we'd rent out a room at the Holiday Inn. There'd be 45, 50 people there. I'd be walking around like a mini Tony Robbins with the thing on the microphone, stumbling, bumbling through it, but getting through it. So I actually really did like it. I enjoyed it. It was rewarding.
All right. So like you have this good gig. You're training other people in that gig. Did it get phased out? Is that why you did it?
Well, I really didn't see an end game to it because, after you switch everybody, then where do you go from there? And it was really a support thing, a management thing. Support, I wasn't getting it. Wasn't getting any help. It was I was on an island. So it just wasn't, it didn't feel right for me, basically, is what it was.
Wow. All right. So you do that. How long did you do that?
I was probably there a little over a year, basically doing that.
All right. So how old were you at that time?
19.
Wow. 19.
20, something like that. Yeah.
Man, I was washing cars at 19. That's awesome, man, that you had that kind of gig. That's great. All right.
I always wanted to be a businessman. So I always wanted to put on a shirt and tie. I didn't really know what that meant back then when I was a kid saying I wanted to be a businessman, but I just knew that I wanted to wear a shirt and tie and go to work every day. It was that was my gig.
Well, how did that transition into car sales? Now, is the dealership you're at right now, was that the original one you've been at, or have you been at a couple of them?
No, I've been with the same dealership for 18 years. Piazza Honda Springfield, great organization, So I would
I'm sorry about that. I would have to say that one of the keys to your success has been longevity at one dealership, correct?
100%, absolutely.
Okay. So how did you stumble into car sales?
I actually looked for an ad. I was just looking through the paper, and I had a Honda Prelude at the time. So I seen an ad, Piazza Honda, or it was Right Honda back then. We still owned the place. It was under a different name, same owner. And I seen an ad in the paper, and I called it. And I was actually sitting in my office at that Green Mountain Energy place, and that was a good ad. I forget what it said, but 401k, demo, the whole nine, typical, car ad in there. And it just attracted me, Honda. I'm like, oh, I know Hondas. I love my Honda. Let me call it up. So I called up. I think it was a Friday, and talking to the sales manager, and he's like, well, why don't you come down? Why don't you come down this afternoon for an interview? I was like, oh, I think I'm going to go golfing, actually. He's like, never mind. It's probably not for you. I'm like, wait a second. I said, all right, never mind. I'll come in. So I came in and started off in car sales there. My first car deal was actually a 2-car deal. I'll never forget it. So had one of the older salespeople there helping me, mentoring me, showing me through everything. First customer I got comes in. I end up asking the guy what he drives, and they ended up buying 2 cars. The person that was helping me pissed off. He's like, that never happens. You should be lucky. It never happens like that. I'm like, all right. So I ended up selling 18 cars my first full month there.
Now, when you got into the business, let me back up just a second here. That first interview, you go in and you knew right away and they knew right away, or was it kind of like, I don't know if I want to be in car sales?
No, I think from the get-go, my sales manager, Bob, who's still with us here, interviewed me. And, I always look for a way in with everybody. So, I seen he had a Mont Blanc pen in his pocket. And because I was like salesman of the whatever that month, they gave me a Mont Blanc pen in my last place. So I'm sitting there and I brought the pen to my meeting. I'm like, oh, man, it's a really nice pen. And that was just our in. And we just started BSing about, pens and then sports. And then, just started talking and then, basically laid out, the job for me and what it'll be doing. And I, figured sounds great. Let's start. So, I started that March 21st of 2000, and first full month, April, I did 18 cars.
So 2000 was your first year in the car business. Have you seen it change a lot?
Yeah, no. I mean, things change, but things stay the same. You know what I mean? All the fundamentals are still the same. The process has changed, but the fundamentals still stay the same.
All right, so we're going to kind of get into like you building your brand, your dealership and everything, but I want to tell everybody out there that's watching this, and I want to let you know, Frank, we have a ton of freaking people in here right now. You have over 100 people in here right now viewing this, which is a lot in live Facebook land. All right, so everybody, hit share on this real quick. Let's help Frank, help me, help everybody out and get this out to the auto people. But I want to know about Piazza Honda. It was Wright Honda before you? Is that what you said?
Right. Well, our owner owned it. He was just under a different name, but
okay.
The son started running the business, Tony, Danny, and they wanted to, unify everything. So all the stores that had different names, some of them had the names of the city, stuff like that. Now everything is Piazza Honda and now I think I lost count. I think we own 27 dealerships in counting. So we're trying to be one of the big boys.
Yeah. You mentioned something that picked up in my ear real quick, that the guy that hired you is still with you. So obviously they know how to run a dealership pretty well if they can keep all their people for that long.
Oh, absolutely. They haven't fired me yet, so they're doing a heck of a job.
I don't think they will, man. I don't think they will. I think you're safe. Tell me how you built your brand. I mean, how long did it take you? Obviously, you had the first deal was the 2-car deal. Obviously, to get to where you are today, you have to do a lot of marketing, a lot of building your brand. How long did it take you to get established in that market?
So to establish yourself, I mean, after probably your 4th, 5th year, I started seeing a lot of my leases come back, customers. That's kind of when it all started to click, so I went from doing like 20 something to 30 something, after like year 4, year 5, you're up into the 40s, and then, kind of just all snowballed to where you're at now, basically is where it's at.
Well, the marketing of that, is that, do you do a lot of your own marketing? Is that,
I do all my own marketing. So, one of the things I learned from the job that I had before was not to sit around and wait for people to call you. So, i.e. taking internet leads, stuff like that. When I first started off, the internet process was a little bit different. They would just round robin the leads and just hand them out, to salespeople. So if there was 10 leads and there's 10 salespeople, you get 1 lead and you got to try to, you got to try to sell that. So my niche, I felt, was, reaching out to my friends, my family, and then, you start to build up, you start to sell people cars, and, people start to get your name, your reputation, and, people start coming in and asking for you. Well, the one thing that I did that actually took me to the next level is I basically, anytime I sold an insurance agent, or anytime an insurance agent would come in, you always have insurance agents coming in and solicit for business. And, the way I would say it is, well, listen, I'm selling 30 cars a month, right now, year 4, year 5, I don't want your kickback or whatever you're going to give me. All I want is, if anybody calls you for insurance on a car, especially a Honda, hey, listen, we have this buying service program. We work with a guy, Frank, over at Piazza Honda. If you want, here's his number, give him a call. And, I would reciprocate with, trying to help him out, get deals also. So that's kind of where it started. So I would get, 4 or 5 deals probably a month just from one insurance agent. And then kind of the light bulb went off in the head. So, I sold a body shop guy a car that owned a body shop. Started talking with him. He was really happy with the way we treated him, rolled out the red carpet, literally, back then and figuratively. And that guy, any kind of car got totaled. People, they didn't know they were buying a car. Their car just got totaled. They're kind of in a crux of what to do. Well, listen, we have this guy. I buy my cars from him. We do business with Piazza Honda. Why don't you go down there? Just tell them we sent you, and they'll take care of you. So that's where I would get a lot of my business from. So I would try to create my own internet leads. Basically, I would try to get my own leads, because I didn't want the leads that were closing at 10 to 15%. I wanted the referral, that were exclusive to just me, which really helps out a lot.
I don't blame you 1%. I tell people all the time that are fighting for internet leads, guys, the internet closing ratio is about 12% overall. And you guys are worried about these when we can bring in referrals that close at about 70%. So which one would you rather have? You know what I mean? But
Right.
still have that mindset of not wanting to put in the work. Obviously, Frank, you put in the work, and you had about year 4, you said. So before year 4, and before you start going into that form of marketing, of reciprocating sales, you focused mainly on just referrals and calling people and stuff like that?
Trying to hit it from every angle. You can never be a one-trick pony. So people are like, oh, you probably just work on referrals now. And that's not true. You know what I mean? So you're still out trying to get new business to come in. You still have to, shake a hand, that somebody just walking around the showroom. If there's a salesperson that's, available, I always try to grab somebody, you know what I mean? So I don't get tied up with a new customer, because that may take up too long of my day to start fresh with a new customer, where I'll have 2 or 3 referrals come in at the same time. So I won't be able to give, that person that just walked in the same attention that, I'm going to give a referral. So, most of the time I don't take new customers anymore, but at the same point, you would never just let anybody walk around the lot, not say hi to them, not start up a conversation, and, eventually try to, hook them up with a car.
I think that's very important that we touch on that briefly just for a second, because, in the car world, the normal person, Frank, that hasn't maybe done some of the things that you've done, a great salesman sells 30 cars, and he's working his butt off, cradle to grave, working his tail off, making the phone calls, making the internet leads, doing all the things. And when they see somebody that does the numbers that you're doing, it's hard to fathom and hard to understand. That's why it's so important that you're on tonight. Not that nobody doesn't believe that you can do it. We just are amazed, because we know how hard it is cradle to grave. You know what I mean? But I wanted to make sure that we touched on that, because he had a light bulb go off in year 4 that says, hey man, I need to go touch my local community places that can send me business. And then in turn, I send them business. And that was very smart. Great job of that. Now, right now you're 18 years in. You've worked it up every year. When did you just see, oh my gosh, it's getting overwhelming? Because you didn't have anybody, it was just you at one time, right?
It's still only me.
Wow.
So I see all these things. It's so funny. So we have guys that start here from other stores. They'll come in, and, like the first day or two, I don't know. I guess they, feel weird talking to me or something like that. But then, they'll come over and they'll say, listen, Frank, where's all your assistants that we keep hearing about? I'm like, oh, my wife, she works for me. She's, in the back. I'm just messing around. She doesn't work for me, but no. So the amount of assistance I have, I'm gonna put up some help for everybody. All right. So that is the amount of assistants that I actually have that are employed by me. The amount of employees that work here that I use every single day that everybody else has access to, 135. So if you're not using all your employees to help you out, I take every phone call. If an internet lead comes in and it's my customer, I want BDC to just touch it and then get me involved the second that comes in. So I'm not having them do anything more than the basic email. It's basically, I feel like it's my customer. They want to talk to me, so that's why they're emailing in. So I want to make sure that I'm, giving them the personal touch, not just, pushing them off onto somebody else. To me, that would irritate me if it was me calling in for, to get the same service that I got the last time. And then, I don't have the time for it.
Well, I have much respect for that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to understand how that process will work if you don't have anybody that's working for you. You probably have a delivery coordinator that helps you with that and somebody that goes on test drives, right?
No, I do most of my own test drives, actually. So I would never let anybody go on a test drive with my customer. How do I know what they're going to say to my customer?
I would agree.
Test drive's the best place ever to make sure that you're going over they're in the right car, and that's one of the things that's one of the things that's actually helped me shortcut the process, because if you go on the test drive with somebody, you're going through the car a little bit, we're talking about, most of the time, this is my customer 6-7 times over. So we're talking about sports or, the families or something like that, but you're showing everybody the key points of the car, the new stuff that's out, the Apple CarPlay, getting everybody acclimated with the technology. The car is going to stop itself. It's going to steer itself, some of the stuff that's not in their, previous car. But the test drive is the best place to make sure that you have the right vehicle for that person. You go through the test drive, go through your presentation, demonstration, come back from the test drive. And I used to sit there and I'd hear these, salespeople that have been in the business, and I say, get out of the car, and they'd say, is there anything did you like the car? And the people would just like, yeah, I liked like this or like that. It seemed like a real generic answer. So I'm like, man, that doesn't really get to the bottom of it. So I kind of flipped the script. I go on a test drive with somebody, and the question I'll ask, is there anything you didn't like about the car? Seems to be the answer. You're going to get the answer that you really want. And so yes, I love everything about the car. There's nothing I don't like about the car besides the color. Okay, so other than the color, we can change that. You want the white one? Great, we have that in stock. Come on in. Let's see how easy it is to do business here. Walk in, you already have all your numbers ready, so that makes it easy. Or somebody says, well, I didn't like the car because it's just too small. So you don't waste your time negotiating or trying to present numbers on a car that they wouldn't have bought anyway. And a lot of times people sometimes are too nice to tell you that because they feel weird. They don't want to go on another test drive or feel like they're wasting your time. So, the question that I developed is, anything you didn't like about the car kind of gets you to, yes, we did like the car, and yes, we can work numbers out on it, or no, we didn't like the car, and this is why. And then I can actually pull them up something that I think they will actually like or want, and go from there. So you're not wasting your time negotiating on the wrong cars. Basically, that's where you would waste your time. So if I had somebody else going on my test drives, I wouldn't know where I was at. My head would be spinning 360 degrees. So.
Well, okay. So you go on your test drives, you negotiate your own numbers then, Frank?
Yeah, we pretty much just give you all the best numbers right from the beginning. So used cars, we do market value pricing, and all our cars are priced really low. It's very odd that people come on the lot anymore to, walk around, pick out a car, then sit down and negotiate it. I mean, sorry about that. I was getting a call. If your cars are priced right already online, which ours already are, they're priced below market value. That basically the first question is the car available? And yes, the car is available. So you're just pulling it aside for the customer. And most of the time, we shorten up the process here. So basically, you're trying to figure out how do I deliver so many cars and go through the whole process. So there's only so much of the process you can shorten up. And the one part of the process that I would always get good CSI, but you'd see in the notes, I wish the process was quicker. I wish the process was quicker all the time. So you can't shorten up the paperwork. There's ever growing paperwork of state paperwork, finance paperwork. So you have to shorten up the process to get to the paperwork. So if a customer's coming in, they want a car, they're a lease customer, I'm texting you over the credit application, emailing you over the credit application. People are sending me a copy of their driver's license ahead of time, insurance cards, because most of the time, Mr. Smith's already bought 7 cars from me. His lease is coming to him. Mr. Smith, do you want a brand new Accord LX to keep your payment the same? Absolutely. What color do you want? Already got the car ready for him. Already have most of the stuff. They're in it. The customer like that's in and out of here in a half hour. From cradle to grave, the way we have the process set up here, the efficiently, you can legitimately come in, test drive a car, settle on a car, do the numbers with me, and be out of here hour and a half.
Wow, that's really good, man. That's really good.
Yeah.
But that kind of is the way it should be. To be honest with you.
Right. That's what people want.
I totally agree with you. And in fact, I tell people all the time, we need to shorten the process down. There's no reason for somebody to wait that long to go in finance. There's no reason for some of this stuff, I do like the fact that you said you need to go on test drives. I tell people all the time, Frank, why are you not going on test drives? You learn so much about the person. It's a rapport building stage. You learn if they like the car, if it creaks, if they don't like the sound of the music. If you just send somebody out, put a tag on the back and send them down the road and they come rolling back in, they get out of the car and you don't know anything, So I'm glad you said that. Now, if you can get everybody out of here in about a half hour to an hour, still, how do you deliver 18 cars in one day?
So I'm off on Fridays and we're closed on Sunday, right? So my Friday, I don't work. I never work on a Friday. So the amount of days I work are 5 a week. I will never, ever, ever work a Friday, except for maybe Black Friday, and then I'll take an extra day off or something like that. But other than that, it's Frankless Fridays around here, and everybody knows that. So my Friday.
Is that Frankless Fridays?
Frankless Fridays. Everybody knows it's Frankless Friday. So everybody's text message on Friday starts like this: I know you're off today, but no problem. I'll have the car ready for you. So on a Saturday when I sell, 15 cars, have a phenomenal day, 18 cars, I already have 6 or 7 lined up coming in from 9 a.m. I'm here bright and early, 9 a.m. on Saturday. It's probably the only day I'm here at 9 a.m. If my managers are listening, they're all laughing. I'm usually, I crawl in around 9:30 here. I'm not a be here at 9, but I never leave once I'm here. So, I don't take the breaks, the 2-hour breaks that you get. There's no reason to do that in my mind. You're fired up, stay fired up, through the day. Don't leave and, bring yourself from being a 10, maybe down to a 6, coming back to work. So just stay focused on the task at hand. But on a Saturdays are really the only day that it's absolute chaos here. So it's like an Apple store, but you got to make it a fun process for everybody. If we're getting backed up, we have 5 finance guys. So that really, and a girl, I'm sorry. So 4 finance guys and a finance woman. And it makes the process a lot better. So during the week, I basically commandeered one of the finance guys here. So he handles a lot of my paperwork for me. He handles a majority of it. So am I verifying 100 insurances a month? No, he's doing most of that for me. He's taking care of a lot of the stuff. And the managers here are what make the process go. So before I did Green Mountain Energy, I worked for a pizza shop for 5 years, and it was a busy pizza shop. So on a Friday night, we'd sell 200 pizzas, and there's only one pizza guy and probably two or three cooks and a bunch of delivery guys. So all you would do all day is prep for Friday night, Friday during the day. So all we do around here is prep for Saturday. So, my Saturday, I already have the cars. I know people are coming in. They're already through detail all day. I'm texting detail on Friday. Listen, Mr. Smith's coming in. He'll be there at 9:01. Make sure the black 18 Accord is ready out front. So, I'll pull in. There'll be 6 or 7 of my cars already lined up out front because I already know half these people are coming in because I'm off Friday. So people still want to come in and deal with me. And I try to say, if you want to come in, you don't have to wait for me. Just about everybody wants to wait for me. But I also have a guy here on Friday who has my back 100%. He sits right next to me, Frank Scalise. So I help him when he's not here. He helps me when I'm not here. And you got to have a floor partner basically to, watch your back when you're not here. 'Cause you can't be here all the time. Shouldn't be.
That's amazing, man. I'm blown away by that. And glad I got to sit down with you tonight because, I kind of had thought, I even told my wife, I was like, well, he's got to have assistance. He's got to have, I mean, in my mind, a normal car salesman, not that you're not, but you understand what I'm saying. And the process that we have at our dealership, knowing how long everything takes and the delivery and everything else, it's like hard to fathom. But now that I hear about it, I really like the way your dealership is set up because they really focus on the customer. And that's really, at the end of the day, what they all should be, is focus on the customer. I do like the fact that obviously you have a lot of loyal customers. If they're texting you and you're texting them and you're texting credit apps and they're filling them out and you already know the car they want, that takes a lot of this out of it. And that's pretty awesome that you built that kind of rapport with your customers. And do you get a lot of new customers, or is it a lot of the same customer?
I get a lot of new customers. So my, I'd say probably 5 or 6 phone calls a day go like this. Hey, how you doing, Frank? My name, you don't know me, but my name is, and so referred me over. They had a great experience, or I'm friends with so-and-so. They told me to make sure to reach out to you. I seen you on Facebook. I like what you're doing. Can you help me out? And people just basically lay out their whole situation to me. So I feel like I'm more of a psychiatrist, Dr. Phil type, than I am a car salesman anymore, basically. So, you just got to really figure out, what everybody wants and try to help them, guide them to the right situation. So for some people, it might be the money. For some people, it might be the car. Some people need something bigger. Some people need something smaller. So the more information you can give everybody up front makes them feel more comfortable before they ever come in and meet you. And I like to tell everybody, outside of here, you might want to, hang out with me if we're at the Eagles game or something. Even you would probably like to hang out with me at the Eagles game. It's pretty fun. But at a car dealership, not many people want to hang out here all day. So I want to try to shortcut as much out of the sitting around waiting phase, because that would stress me out. I hate waiting for anything. So people will pay for efficiency. I kind of equate it to, if you were stuck in traffic every day and there was a lane that you could pay a couple extra dollars and drive past everybody, you would pay the couple extra dollars to drive past everybody every day and not sit in traffic. People will pay for efficiency. Now, they won't pay much for efficiency, but they'll pay a little bit for efficiencies. It's that's what we do here, basically.
That's pretty amazing. And something I've found out since being on Facebook and being out in the market, trying to blanket the market, what you've done is what I've noticed is happening to me, that people really root for you and they want to give you their business. It's like, oh my gosh, I want to be a part of what you're doing. And they probably see you and they're like, just number after number. You got the ropes out there, you got the red carpet, and they want to be a part of that with you. So they start rooting for you. Do you think that's what it is?
Oh, that's definitely part of it, so that's one of the main questions. When do we do the red carpet? Is what everybody's asking. So, it's something fun. You want to keep it fun. So, I think as salesmen, we get lost sometimes in our process, and, it's just our job we start to feel, rather than, listen, this person doesn't buy a car every day. You know what I mean? This is their experience. This is their moment. This is their spotlight, so you got to make it exciting. Not everybody cares about buying a car. Some people, it's just, it's a tool and they don't care and they want to get in and out. But for the majority of the people, you're buying a car, you're getting a new car, it should be exciting, and that resonates with people. And that's what makes, I'll steal Jonathan Dolphin's thing. That's what makes raving fans. So you want to create fans that will tell people about you. That's really what the secret sauce is.
I think that is the secret sauce. I'm learning that it's not really customers or clients. It's more of raving fans, because the bigger you get out there, the more people that know you, the more they root for you. And I'm seeing that in what you're doing. Now, you got to answer me this, man. How do you touch that many people? Like, as far as building a relationship with that many people, it's hard for me to contact 5 years worth of 250 customers a year, let alone when you're selling the numbers that you're selling. How do you touch that many people?
Well, you touch it from every angle. So I treat Facebook and Facebook Messenger like a CRM tool, basically. So, while some people are lost in their dealer socket and, the stuff that they should be doing, per the way that it's supposed to be done, quote unquote. I treat Facebook basically, so I do all my follow-up as much as I can through either Facebook Messenger, because then it's there and people have instant access to you rather than an email. I may look at my email 3 or 4 times a day. I probably look at Facebook, I'll say 30 or 40 times a day. My wife will probably say 300 to 400 times a day. But you really, I mean, if you're selling on Facebook and you're, just trying to keep your name out there on Facebook, one of the best ways to connect with people is through Facebook. If you try to call me during the day, the chances of you getting me are extremely slim. I'm probably pushing 90% of the people to voicemail and then sending you a text message. Hey, I can't talk right now. What's up? But if you send me a text message, I could be sitting here doing this and responding back to you, via text message or voice text or, Facebook Messenger or, any other, way to get you. But, to me, the phone calls and they just take too much time.
I feel like Facebook and Messenger is such a useful tool. In fact, I think it's more useful than the other forms of communication now. I feel like it pops up on your phone quick. It's easy. It's quick. They can follow you on Facebook. You can follow them. They comment on your post and, your sales. So I think it's an amazing way. I wish I would have found it a long time ago. How long have you been on Facebook? How long have you been selling like this?
Some of my close friends will tell you I fought the whole Facebook thing forever. I said, I'll never, ever be on Facebook. So probably I'd say 5, 6, 7, probably 7 years ago, I got on Facebook. But I was the whole anti social media. I never did the precursor to Facebook, that MySpace thing. I never did any of that stuff. I'm dating myself now. I'm an old man, 39. So, about 6, 7 years ago, I got on Facebook, but I really started posting pictures and stuff like that of clients probably about 4 or 5 years ago, basically. And that's one of the tools I use too. So right now you have, your Facebook, there's a tool on there that every day it shows you what you did back a year ago, 2 years ago. So instead of doing the happy birthday call, nobody wants to hear happy birthday from me, that salesmen are supposed to make. I send everybody that in their instant messenger, happy anniversary, boom. And it's our anniversary with our picture that we took on Facebook. So it keeps your face fresh, keeps them remembering, who it is. And you start a small conversation with them. And from that, you'll get referrals. And, that's one of the great tools that I use.
That's gold right there. I like that. That's really good. You're right, man. I've been telling people to make videos for birthdays because nobody cares about a phone call, man. I promise you. In fact, most of them push me to voicemail anyway. So I've been doing videos for them, but I really like that. Also, maybe to send them the last year's picture. It keeps you fresh in their mind. That's really, really good. Now, do you use any other forms of social media?
I tried doing Instagram a little. Sorry, I tried doing Instagram a little bit. I might try to get back on there. It's just, it gets a little overwhelming. So you got to kind of, get where the getting's good, basically, type thing. So, and I feel like Instagram is a lot copied from Facebook. So I feel like it's somewhat of a redundancy. I'm not a Twitter guy. I'm not a Snapchat. I don't even understand that, Snapchat type thing. My sister tried to show me, my kids tried to show me all those filters and stuff. I don't get how you sell on Snapchat or what you do on Snapchat. But another thing that's been really good for me with Facebook is getting in these community groups. So, around here we have a lot of big, communities. So you have, Mainline community, you have the Garnet Valley community, you have Springfield community. In these communities, there's 5, 10, 20,000 people. So, anytime that anybody asks a question in some of these communities, and there's 20, 30 questions get asked a day in these things, do you know a tree guy, do you know this, my name must get tagged a bajillion times, so that really helps me. And I respond on there, and then I send the person, whoever asked the question, just a personal instant message. Hey, this is who I am, this is who I helped, if you need anything, here's my number to reach out. So you kind of just want to make the first move. You don't want to sit there and wait for somebody to come over and talk to you. You kind of want to break the ice and make the first move, and to do it publicly in the Facebook forum is great. And then just send them a private message in case they have any questions or anything, just let them know who you are, send them a link to our website, which kind of helps break the ice a lot.
So you really like the groups a lot. Do you have a landing page at all? You have like for yourself?
No, actually I don't. I'm actually going this week to talk to a guy, Anthony Cataldi, if he's listening. Anthony, what's up, buddy? We're going to do some we got some big things working. So, we're not, that's one thing everybody, always says, man, you're doing great. You're doing this. Well, I'm never anybody who wants to be comfortable. I like to work outside my comfort zone 100%. So was I ever really comfortable, doing videos at first? No, I'm, embarrassed as could be the first couple of videos I did. Now it just comes naturally. You get on, you just talk, it doesn't make a difference. So, but I never want to be, comfortable. So if I came here and just sat back, I could probably sell, 80 plus cars a month and really not do too much work just from the residual business I get and the referrals. Eventually it would start to slack off, but I'm a guy that likes to put the pedal to the metal and work outside my comfort zone. If I'm here, I'm trying to set new levels every day, probably to the annoyance sometimes of my sales managers.
That's really funny. You just said that. I love that. You just said, well, I could come here and sell 80 or 90 cars. We're like, what? All right. So what is your long term? I mean, do you want to stay a salesman? I mean, do you just enjoy this lifestyle, or would you like maybe something else down the road?
I've had a couple sales trainers reach out to me. I've been talking to a couple people, and that might be a long-term goal or something I do, on the side. But I love my job. My wife thinks I'm crazy, and I high five the mirror every morning. I love being me before I walk out of the house. I got to set my mindset. My mindset has to be right. So every morning, and she's probably tired of wiping the handprint off the mirror, but I high five the mirror every morning after I get dressed. Boom. Love being me. Walk out the house. I high five the kids, Team Frank, like I'm running out for a Sixers game, on the way out, and then jump in the truck and throw the radio on as loud as I can, put something on, just get yourself in the right mindset before you get into work. So, you can just kick in the door and, be ready to go as soon as you get in here, and not just, sit around at the water cooler and talk about the Eagles game for 2 hours and then order lunch. And then by the time you realize it's 3 o'clock and you're going through the afternoon lull, and then by the time customers show up, you're tired because you're not doing anything all day. So to me, I fight that every day. It's that's not what's going to consume me and my time.
We have probably a lot of green peas watching right now. A lot of people new in the business, a lot of people that have been old in the business, but just aren't really doing what they need to do. What would be the number one thing for advice that you would give them that they need to do?
You need to learn how to build relationships. So you got to sell yourself. You're not selling cars, knowing the product. I got guys here that know more about the product than I'll ever know. And anymore with the internet, people come in, they know more about the car because they've been studying it for 10 nights on their iPad every single night, looking at that car and studying every little nuance and dimension and everything in a car. So, you want to focus on your product knowledge, but you also want to focus on your relationship building. So, it's an art to, get people to feel comfortable with you. So even me, if I walk into another car dealership to buy a car, we went out looking for a car for my wife. And I said, just don't tell them that I'm in the car business. And, a couple of the car dealerships that I walked in, I even felt uncomfortable, because the salesperson made it that way. So to me, I want to be embraced, welcome to Piazza Honda. My name is Frank. Very nice to meet you. What brings you in today? You want to get people excited to be in the dealership, and but not push them off. You don't want to freak anybody out. People are already freaked out enough most of the time walking into a car dealership, not feeling comfortable. So you need to learn how to let people breathe a little bit, feel comfortable, and then just give them all the information that they're asking for.
What inspires you?
Winning.
Okay. Winning in life, winning at everything. You're a very competitive person?
Yeah. I don't let my kids beat me in video games. I don't care. Like, I gotta win at everything. I'm gonna find a way to win one way or the other.
I was watching a podcast this morning. It was Joe Rogan and Gary Vee. I don't know if you know who they are, but anyways, Gary Vee was saying that he won't even let his kids score in basketball. He blocks it every time. It was hilarious, man. I was laughing my butt off at it. He's like, Joe was like, you won't even let her score? And he's like, no, I won't even let her score. I block it every time. I just thought that was hilarious. He said, she's not going to learn anything if I let her score. That's, All right. So I ask this question every time. Now, before we're going to get to a few comments. We got a couple minutes to get to some comments, but I want to ask you, if we were, what's your favorite 3 albums, man? If we were crashed on a deserted island, what do you hope we have, man?
We got to have 3 albums. So you got to have The Blueprint, Jay-Z.
All right.
You got to have All Eyes on Me. You got to have Tupac. You got to have the double disc Tupac. And then what would my third album be? That's a great question.
How about
Probably some rock and roll stuff, man. I don't know, some Led Zeppelin or something like that. Something crazy to get me going.
Dude, I love it, man. This guy just dropped. I would not expect Frank Crinite to drop Jay-Z and Led Zeppelin in the same one. Okay, absolutely. And then pick it up with Tupac. I love it. That was great, man. All right, so we're going to take some questions from everybody, if you don't mind. We got a few minutes. You got a few minutes, man?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. All right. So Mike Phillips, he wants to know what's your ratio of selling new cars to used cars?
50-50.
Okay. Do you find a lot of people, do you move people over from used to new or vice versa? Or you just listen to their needs?
Okay. So back in the day when we didn't have the inventories that we did, see, my whole thing is I'm not selling cars. I'm taking customers out of the market. So it doesn't matter to me if I was selling a new or a used, but I would make a customer that came in looking for, a nice, cheap used car. And at that point, 6-7 years ago, we didn't have the inventory that I have now. So I probably, if I didn't have something, I would just, we would try to put everybody in a lease, so you're looking for a $200 car payment for your daughter who's going to college or just graduated. So, and I explained the nuances of a lease to everybody and kind of got almost to be a Jedi on explaining a lease to everybody where it actually made sense. So the fear of the unknown, somebody that's never leased before, rather than spend $10,000 on a car that's 7 years old with 70,000 miles on it, and your payment's $200 a month, you get something under warranty and get a new car after 3 years. So that's kind of where it resonated from.
A couple people want to know, do you deal with any kind of hate at your dealership or any kind of jealousy or anything like that?
No, for the most part, we got a pretty good group of guys here and girls, and I'm sure there's a couple of people that don't like me, but for the most part, I walk around the whole dealership every day, and everybody's like, "Frank, what's up? How's everything going? Another great day at Piazza Honda." That's my line. Everybody will say, "Another great day at Piazza Honda, isn't it?" You get a smile on everybody's face, so you want to get everybody positive all the time. So, you can. I'm sure there's plenty of employees on here, so they can chime in if I'm hated, they'd let you know. But I don't think I would have been able to make it so long and be as successful if I was hated. So that's some of the things that people come from other dealers saying, "Man, we have a guy over there selling 40 cars. He's such an a-hole. I can't believe you sell this many cars and you're the presence that you have." So, never get too high, never get too low, and just kind of keep yourself even keel. I mean, there's some times when your stress levels up here, you lose it a little bit, but for the most part, no, it's not, because I don't take new customers. And if there's a customer on the floor and, I'll have a short conversation with them, try to help them out. And then I'll just grab a salesperson that's available. So, I'm not taking any customers basically from anybody.
I would actually love you, dude. If you worked at my dealership, I mean, you're not taking any fresh ups. Who cares, right? You're marketing yourself.
And I'm helping other salespeople. So the month I sold 135. I think my floor partner was on vacation. I sold him like 5 or 6 cars, and then I'll help any question anybody has here, or questions about the car. I get questions from service all day about some of this new stuff on the car, some of the new gadgetry. So I try to help out everywhere I can.
That's all the questions I really have, Frank. I don't want to hold you up. You're a busy guy. I do want to say this to you, man. It really has been a pleasure to sit down with you. It really has. And I really appreciate that you let us in to see, because, if you don't get to talk to you, we all just wonder, how does he do this? It's all mythical to us. You know what I mean? So I really appreciate how you broke it down. Let us know. I do respect your marketing efforts and all you do for the auto community. I do watch you in the groups and how you help, man. I see it. I see you post in there. When somebody posts, you come in, you're always polite, you're always pleasant, you always try to help, even the haters. Okay. I do appreciate that. So auto community. Let's get behind Frank. It's pretty amazing when somebody can do what he's done and still doing and still be out there being a nice guy and helping everybody. I am a little jealous you get 2 days off a week though, bro. I'll be honest with you, man. Fridays, to get something going like that. Frankless Fridays, I like that. Shawnless Sundays, I don't know, something. But Florida,
it's family first over here. And the question that I see that everybody always asks is what's the secret sauce? What's the secret sauce? Well, if there was a secret sauce, I would package it up and I'd be selling that secret sauce. So there is no magic pill, everybody. All right. So there is no, magic pill that you take and all of a sudden, you become, this fit athlete that just, has, Adonis type muscles and everything. You have to work out every day. You got to eat right. You got to follow a certain lifestyle. And that's really where it is. And that's what it metamorphosizes in, 18 years later, doing the right stuff every day, following all the steps, following up with customers. And the one main thing that I do is I'm involved with everything. So if there's a problem, that they're the customers you want to get back to first, immediately. They're the ones that you want to try to mitigate anything, because one person's happy, the old adage, they'll tell 10 people. One person's doesn't have a good experience, or something's wrong with their car, or something happened over in service, they'll tell hundreds of people. So I try to be upfront with everything that goes on. So I tell all my customers, I do a service walk, I introduce them to a couple service people that I use over there. So if I need something on my day off, I can text one of the service guys, hey, I got one of my customers coming in, they got a problem, please make sure they're taken care of, and everything's taken care of. But there is no magic pill. So there's no secret sauce, there's no magic pill, there is no man behind the curtain back there, there is no 9 assistants working for me. Paperwork, not my forte. I don't do a lot of paperwork, but I'm shaking hands every customer, handing out keys every customer, doing most test drives, and doing everything that all you guys are doing every single day.
Well, I did hear some secret sauce. I heard first secret sauce was build relationships.
Right.
Number one. Okay. Second is you have to make sure that you do business with people in your community so they can then in turn do business with you. All right. That's the second thing I heard. And third, you got to stay in contact with your customer base through Facebook and Messenger. Okay. Those were some of the secret sauces I heard right there. And then you have to be omnipresent. You got to be out there in the community, being a blanket your community, let everybody know so they can rally around you and root for you, man. That's what I heard out of you tonight. And I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure sitting down with you, man. I do give you much props, man. And hopefully if I'm ever up your way, we can go catch an Eagles game, because, man, there's no bigger sports fan than me. And I do respect that. I respect the time you spend with your kid, taking him to the game and stuff. What's your wife's name, by the way?
Kelly, St. Kelly.
St. Kelly, right. Is that your only son, or do you have any other kids?
Frank Jr. is 9, nicest kid in the world. Please, thank you. No problem, Daddy. I'll go to bed, clean my room. Greatest kid ever. My daughter, Natalie Ava, I call her Natitude. She is almost 7, going on 17. She doesn't take no for an answer. She is definitely metamorphosizing into me. And we have our third little boy on the way due in March. So we're very blessed.
Awesome, man. Well, it was a pleasure sitting down with you tonight. Guys, I got a great show for you next week as well. It was just as good as I'm sure this was. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Thanks a lot, Frank. I appreciate for coming on Sales Hustler Spotlight. And pay attention. How can everybody get a hold of you, man, when they need to get a hold of you?
So here's what I'm going to do for everybody, because I'm probably going to get, like I normally do after doing something like this, 1 billion inboxes and everybody wants to talk. So what I'm going to offer everybody is my phone numbers on every one of my posts. You can text me, you can call me. If you go to this website, Sassy Massey, I'm doing a thing for this little girl who's she has pediatric cancer. And if you go on Amazon and click it on and donate a toy to the local hospital, I'll talk to you for as long as you need, basically.
Wow. Can you give me that website one more time, man?
Yeah, I'll post it in the comments, but it's sassymassey.com.
Wow.
And it's a toy drive that we're doing for this little girl. That's her wishes.
I'm in it, man. I'm in it. As soon as I get out of here, man. All
Thanks,
right.
man.
I appreciate it, man. And guys, we'll be seeing you next week. I'll see you tomorrow with tomorrow's video. And thanks a lot, man. It was a great show.
See you guys. See you Facebook. Thanks, everybody.